Are you tired of the constant whiplash, Canucks Nation? 1 minute, we're told our star defenseman Quinn Hughes can't sign an 8-year deal. The next we hear he absolutely can, and now it's all up in the air again. It's enough to make your head spin, isn't it? But amidst this swirling vortex of conflicting reports and legal jargon, there's a glimmer of hope, a potential game changer that could give the Vancouver Canucks a monumental advantage in locking down their captain for the long haul. Today, we're cutting through the noise, dissecting the intricate details of the NHL's new collective bargaining agreement, and revealing why the future of Quinn Hughes' contract is far from settled, and why this uncertainty could actually play right into the Canucks' hands. Let's be honest, folks, I owe you a bit of a mea culpa. A few weeks ago, I reported, based on information from a reputable source, that the Vancouver Canucks wouldn't be able to re-sign Quinn Hughes to an 8-year contract. This was predicated on a report from Frank Saravalli of the Daily Face-Off, detailing a provision within the new Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, between the NHL and the Players' Union, the NHL-PA. This provision, as initially understood, was set to reduce the maximum length of contracts. Under the current collective bargaining agreement, or CBA, a player can sign an 8-year extension with their current team, or a 7-year deal if they move to a new team in free agency. The new MOU, as reported, would slash these to 7 years for an extension and 6 years for a new team. I had confirmed with other sources that Saravalli was indeed correct about this provision being in the MOU. The critical piece of information that might have been misinterpreted, however, was when this significant change would actually come into effect. Saravalli's initial report stated quite definitively that the change would take place before the end of the current CBA, specifically noting that the 2025-26 season, next week's free agency, will mark the final 8-year deals in the NHL. Now, here's where the timeline gets tricky for Quinn Hughes. He still has 2 years remaining on his current contract, meaning he isn't even eligible to sign an extension until July 1st, 2026. According to Saravalli's reporting, if the 2025-26 season was indeed the last for 8-year deals, then Hughes' new contract, which would commence in the 2027-28 season, would undeniably fall under these stricter new rules. This would mean a maximum of a 7-year extension with the Canucks, or a 6-year deal if he were to test the waters of free agency. For a player of Hughes' caliber, entering his prime, that lost year or two on a long-term deal represents a significant amount of money and security. However, a new wrinkle emerged when the full 167-page MOU was officially released to those with access. Within its dense legal text, a crucial detail was revealed. The changes agreed to in the document are slated to take effect on September 16, 2026. This date, seemingly innocuous, completely flips the script for the Vancouver Canucks and Quinn Hughes. As reported by Thomas Drance of The Athletic, this means a critical window of opportunity would open for the Canucks. Drance explained on Sportsnet 650's Halford and Brough in the morning that there is a window of time next summer where contracts will still be governed by the current rules of the road. And the current rules of the road permit players to sign for 8 years with their current team. While Drance acknowledged that some portions of the MOU are redacted and not publicly available, he emphasized that all the agents he spoke with confirmed his interpretation, noting that this is consistent with how past CBAs have been implemented. If this interpretation holds true, it hands the Canucks an enormous advantage in their efforts to retain their superstar defenseman for the maximum possible term. The financial implications of this potential window are nothing short of staggering. If the Canucks are able to offer Hughes an 8-year contract extension between July 1st, 2026 and September 16th, 2026, it would be a monumental win. Consider this. If Hughes were to wait and hit unrestricted free agency in 2027, he would only be able to sign a 6-year contract with a new team. That difference of 2 years for a player of Hughes' expected earning power translates into tens of millions of dollars. Hughes is projected to become one of the highest-paid defensemen in the NHL, likely commanding a salary akin to Drew Doughty or Rasmus Dahlin, who both carry $11 million cap hits on their current deals. With the salary cap projected to rise significantly in the coming years, Hughes could realistically re-sign for $14 to $15 million per year. Those 2 extra years on an 8-year deal, that's a staggering $28 to $30 million in additional compensation. Furthermore, the new MOU also places limits on how much contracts can be front-loaded and how much of a contract's compensation can be structured as signing bonuses. These bonuses are paid in a lump sum each season and are fully guaranteed, even in the event of a buyout or a lockout. Being able to front-load a contract and offer significant signing bonuses under the current rules, which wouldn't be allowed after September 16, 2026, would give Hughes a substantial amount of money up front. A major advantage for any player, especially one with a savvy investment manager. But hold on a minute, because just when you thought we had a clear picture, another layer of complexity has emerged. We now have 2 seemingly contradictory reports regarding whether players will actually be able to sign 8-year contract extensions next summer. Saravalli's initial report suggesting no, and Drant's interpretation suggesting yes. So, which one is correct? Well, at this very moment, the answer is neither. I personally reached out to Bill Daly, the Deputy Commissioner and Chief Legal Officer of the NHL, seeking clarification on this crucial issue. According to Daly, the exact implementation date for that specific portion of the MOU hasn't been finally determined yet. He further elaborated that we still are planning to sit down with the union to discuss implementation details, and that meeting has not transpired yet. This means that the fate of that critical window, and by extension Quinn Hughes' next contract, is still very much up in the air and subject to further negotiation between the league and the Players Association. This revelation from Bill Daly adds a fascinating, high-stakes wrinkle to the entire situation. It means that the NHL and NHLPA still have some significant negotiating to do when they finally come together to iron out the precise implementation details of the MOU. On one side, you have the players who are eligible for extensions next year, who would undoubtedly prefer to sign those lucrative, front-loaded 8-year deals with massive signing bonuses, maximizing their earnings and security. On the other side, the team owners would naturally prefer that the new MOU provisions, which limit these types of contracts, take effect earlier, saving them considerable money over the long term. This isn't just a technicality, it's a battle over significant financial implications for both sides. The outcome of these upcoming discussions will directly impact not only Quinn Hughes, but potentially many other star players across the league who are eligible for extensions in that timeframe. For the Vancouver Canucks, the stakes couldn't be higher. They would undoubtedly prefer that this particular change in the MOU does not come into effect until September 16, 2026. This later implementation date would give them that crucial window to offer Quinn Hughes an 8-year contract extension, a term that no other team could offer him if he were to become an unrestricted free agent in 2027. It's a unique leverage point, a competitive advantage that could prove invaluable in securing their franchise defenseman for the entirety of his prime. The ability to offer more money over a longer term, with more player-friendly financial structures, could be the decisive factor in keeping Hughes in Vancouver for the long haul. The hockey world will be watching closely as the NHL and NHLPA sit down to finalize these details, knowing that the outcome could significantly shape the future of star players and the competitive landscape of the league. So, there you have it, Canucks Nation. The saga of Quinn Hughes' next contract is far from over, and the devil, as always, is in the details of the collective bargaining agreement. This isn't just about dates on a calendar, it's about tens of millions of dollars, long-term stability for our captain, and a potential competitive edge for our beloved Canucks. What do you make of this roller coaster ride of information? Do you think the NHL and NHLPA will ultimately extend that window, or will they close it off, forcing Hughes into a shorter deal if he waits? Share your predictions, your hopes, and your frustrations in the comments below. And if you appreciate us sifting through the legal documents to bring you the clearest picture possible, hit that like button and subscribe for more exclusive insights into the world of hockey contracts and beyond. We'll keep you informed every step of the way.